am Monica with Nourished Functional Nutrition. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist, and I'm here to talk to you about how to heal yourself from adrenal fatigue. I will give you 3 specific diet and lifestyle steps that you can follow starting today. If you're interested, keep watching. Feeling tired all the time, waking up fatigued, not being able to function without coffee, feeling like you cannot catch up, you're overwhelmed, unfocused, perhaps with brain fog and jittery or nervous, crashing in the afternoons. That is not normal. These are red flags for a condition called adrenal fatigue. Unfortunately, this is not recognized by conventional medicine as a condition. However, millions of Americans suffer from symptoms that leave them out of energy, unable to work, unable to function, and desperate for a solution. Stress has always been a part of our lives, whether it's good stress like having a baby or getting a promotion, or bad stress like losing a loved one or perhaps being fired from your job, losing money, or having financial stress. These are all conditions that we have to deal with in modern society. We all manage stress differently because it affects us differently, and the ability to maintain stability during stressful times, that is what we call resilience. Another word for resilience is homeostasis or balance. Resilience is crucial for life because it helps us stay healthy, be able to cope with stressful situations as they come, and it helps us survive and maintain our immunity. Our response to stress is regulated mainly by a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is secreted by the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are 2 small glands that are seated on top of the kidneys. So we have 2 kidneys, 2 adrenal glands, and these glands are in charge of helping us cope with stress. So if there is something that happens suddenly where we have to run or save our lives, the adrenals will secrete adrenaline, norepinephrine, epinephrine, and cortisol, among many others. But the main concern with the adrenal glands in a moment of stress is to provide enough balanced glucose levels so that you have enough sugar so that you can run away. It also helps your blood pressure go up so that you can have enough oxygen to your tissues so that you can go and get out of the way if you need to, or stay and fight. And it also affects our immunity. So the way that we recover from stress, how our resilience works in our body, that is so important for survival, that when our adrenals are not working properly, our health is at risk. In our society, stress keeps us going all the time. We have job pressures, family issues, relationship issues, not to mention traffic in stressful environments like toxic environments with lots of chemicals, or perhaps toxic relationships. It's easy to see how a person who is stressed out all the time would resort to self-healing and self-medicating resources, and in some cases, the things that people choose to do, like self-medicating with illegal drugs, too much alcohol, overeating, not eating enough, and sometimes even over-exercising. You can see how those coping mechanisms would be more detrimental to their bodies. This is why we need to look at things that you can do at home when you are so stressed out that you cannot cope, and what adrenal fatigue is doing to your body. Adrenal fatigue happens when the adrenals are so stressed out and they have been secreting cortisol for so long, they don't have a moment to recover. So there's no recovery period. The person is constantly secreting cortisol. And since this is affecting the level of blood sugars go up and the person is not able to recover from that. So that leads to possibly insulin resistance, diabetes, elevated blood sugars, and also inability to sleep, among other things like low libido, overeating, and over-exercising, which also causes inflammation. And inflammation, as we know, causes chronic diseases like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer. So when we cannot manage our resilience, we cannot manage our immunity. Our immunity is affected and our bodies cannot take care of themselves. So this is why it's so important to pay attention to these red flags. So what can you do, and how do you know whether you have adrenal fatigue? There are a couple of things that you can do to find out. You can go to your doctor. Alternative medicine will test with saliva or urine. The urine test is a little bit more accurate, but conventional medicine will not test for adrenal fatigue. So this is something that you have to seek out. And once you find the results, there are 3 phases for adrenal fatigue. One is arousal, and that's the wired but tired feeling. The person that cannot go to sleep at night, their mind races all the time, they're unfocused, but they're energized. So sometimes we tend to think of this stage of adrenal fatigue as I have more energy and I can do so many things, but then the person crashes, and that leads to phase 2. Phase 2 is an adaptation, and the adaptation phase comes with elevated blood sugars, possible diabetes, and a feeling of feeling tired and not being able to recover from exhaustion. Phase 3 is exhaustion, and this is the person that crashes and they just go to bed and they don't want to get up. They just curl up in a little ball and have absolutely no energy to do even the most basic things. The symptoms of adrenal fatigue: excessive hunger, cravings, sugar cravings, feeling wired all the time, or feeling fatigued. So it could go either way depending on which phase they're in. It could be low libido, headaches, infertility, hair loss, joint pain, brain fog, feeling overwhelmed all the time, nervous, jittery. Any of these things could be red flags for adrenal fatigue. What are some things that you can do right away? The first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you are sleeping enough, at least 8 hours per night. Going to bed on time, catching that wave. Say catching the wave means that when darkness comes, after the sun goes down, melatonin starts rising and you start feeling tired. As soon as you feel tired, it's time to go to bed, because once you get that second wind and you cannot go back to sleep, you're going to stay up all night and you're going to have difficulty falling asleep and staying asleep. And that's when the mind starts racing. Besides sleep and relaxation, you need to tone down the exercise. Your exercise needs to be very slow and gentle, like yoga or walking, or perhaps even swimming, but in a gentle way. You do not want to over-exercise. Eating becomes very important because, as I said before, you're trying to regulate your blood sugar. And in order to regulate blood sugar, you need to get rid of sugar, plain sugar, and start bringing in nutrient-dense foods. Things like grass-fed beef, pastured chicken, wild-caught fish, great fruits and vegetables, eating from the rainbow, having root vegetables. Healthy fats are very important because they will keep you full. The goal here is to not feel hungry. So you want to eat protein, fiber, and fat. I've talked about this before in my previous videos for blood sugar control, and you may want to check those out. It's important to avoid processed foods, anything that comes in a package with refined flour, anything that is sweetened, artificial sweeteners, hydrogenated fats. Think of it as your healing diet. Think about it as something that is going to nourish your body. This is a time to nourish and take care of yourself. In my next 2 videos, I will be talking about managing stress by calming the mind, and we'll talk about some techniques. In the 3rd video, we'll talk about supplementing your diet. Make sure that you share it with your friends and family. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, and don't forget to tap on the bell so that you can be notified when the next video is out.